It seems like just about every electronic device needs a AA battery. So the question is the Energizer the best? What about the Duracell? Finally, what about these lithium batteries? Are they better than the alkaline batteries? Let's find out. We'll see if the alkaline Energizer or Duracell can last as long as a lithium battery. Then we'll see which batteries can handle the cold. We'll also see how some rechargeable batteries are holding up after 6 years of daily use. We'll see if it's a myth that dead batteries bounce higher than charged batteries. At a price of $20 for 100 batteries or only 20 cents each is this Varta brand, made in Indonesia for the Energizer brand. So it'll be very interesting to see if these Vartas are just as good as the Energizers for less than half the cost. And the Varta weighs 23.12 grams. The Varta is at 1.61 volts. A battery's internal resistance is the opposition to flow of current within the battery. We want this number to be as low as possible, and the Varta has an internal resistance of 87 milliohms. We'll be testing two different batteries from Harbor Freight. The first one costs 23 cents per battery and is made by Thunderbolt. They claim it's reliable, long-lasting, and dependable. We're going to test that. And the Thunderbolt batteries are made in China. And the Thunderbolt is at 1.62 volts and has about the same internal resistance as the Varta at 88 milliohms. And it's 23.17 grams for the Thunderbolt. At a price of $8 for 28 batteries or 29 cents each is this EBL brand. They claim their batteries are high performance and leak proof. And the EBL is made in China. And the EBL is starting off at 1.61 volts and the internal resistance is pretty high at 97. And the EBL is the lightest yet at only 21.93 grams. At a price of 30 cents per battery is this AC Delco brand. And the AC Delco is made in Vietnam. Designed and distributed by Paramax USA. And it's 23.24 grams for the AC Delco. So the question is, are these the same as the Paramax batteries that we're about to test? The AC Delco is at 1.59 volts and has 90 milliohms of resistance. To test the batteries, I'll be using this Opus BT3400 tester, which will drain the batteries and will keep track of the total amount of energy that's been drained. Let's use a discharge rate of 300 milliamps or 0.3 amps. And it's been almost 8 hours and all the batteries are fully discharged. And the Varta lasted 6 hours and 9 minutes. Thunderbolt lasted 7 hours and 10 minutes. EBL lasted even longer at 7 hours and 34 minutes, and AC Delco 7 hours and 27. And the Varta has a capacity of 1,829 milliamp hours and 2,130 for the Thunderbolt. EBL is at 2,248, the best of 4 brands, and AC Delco 2,213 for a second place finish. Before we test the next set of batteries, let's see if a dead alkaline battery will bounce higher than a charged battery. I don't recommend trying this with a car battery. The almost dead Duracell is at 0.62 volts and I've marked the dead battery with a permanent marker. And the fully charged Duracell is at 1.67 volts. The dead battery's on the left and both batteries impacted the table at about the same time. And the charged battery barely bounced and the dead battery bounced about 4 inches off the table and is climbing. That's at least a 5-inch bounce for the dead battery compared to about an inch for the fully charged battery. Let's try this one more time. And the dead battery once again bounces about 5 times higher than the fully charged battery. Definitely not a myth, so let's move on and test the next set of batteries. At a price of 33 cents per battery is this Paramax brand. They claim that their batteries deliver long-lasting power that is consistent and reliable. And the Paramax batteries are made in Vietnam just like the AC Delcos. And the Paramax is at 1.6 volts and 97 milliohms of resistance, which is higher than the AC Delco. And it's 23.11 grams for the Paramax. The second battery we'll be testing that's sold by Harbor Freight is the Thunderbolt Edge. The Thunderbolt Edge costs 42 cents, which is about twice as much as a Thunderbolt Magnum. They claim their batteries last as long as the competition. We're going to test that. Made in China. Harbor Freight Thunderbolt Edge is at 1.6 volts and has the best internal resistance yet at 68 milliohms of resistance. And the Thunderbolt Edge is the heaviest yet at 24.2 grams. At a price of 43 cents per battery is this Amazon Basics brand. And the Amazon Basics is made in China. And the Amazon Basics is at 1.61 volts and has a pretty average internal resistance of 87 milliohms of internal resistance. And it's 23.12 grams for the Amazon Basics. We'll be testing 3 different Energizer batteries, the regular Energizer, the Energizer Max, and the Energizer Lithium. At a price of 56 cents per battery is this regular Energizer battery. They claim up to 50% longer lasting. It has a 7-year shelf life. And the Energizer is made in Singapore. And the Energizer is at 1.61 volts, but 94 milliohms is not looking too good. And it's 22.86 grams for the Energizer. Let's test the next 4 brands. And just about another 8 hours has passed and the results are in, with the Paramax only lasting 6 hours and 54 minutes, or about 30 minutes less than the AC Delco. Thunderbolt lasted 29 minutes longer than the Thunderbolt Magnum. Amazon Basics is at 6 hours and 49 minutes and Energizer 6 hours and 51. The Paramax is at 2,053 milliamp hours, Thunderbolt Edge 2,273 to take the lead in the showdown. Amazon Basics 2,026 and Energizer 2,035 milliamp hours. At a price of 57 cents per battery is this Duracell brand. And the Duracell is assembled in USA. And it's 23.36 grams for the Duracell. And the Duracell is at 1.68 volts and has the best internal resistance yet at 59. At a price of 65 cents per battery is this Kirkland brand. The Kirkland brand is typically sold at Costco. They claim that their batteries have a 7-year shelf life and no mercury added. And the Kirkland batteries are assembled in USA. And the Kirkland is at 1.68 volts and has about the same internal resistance as the Duracell at 61. And it's 23.41 grams for the Kirkland. At a price of 67 cents per battery is this Panasonic brand. They claim that these are extremely powerful alkaline batteries. And the Panasonic cells are made in Thailand. And the Panasonic is at 1.6 volts and has an internal resistance of 80 milliohms. And it's 23.61 grams for the Panasonic. At a price of 75 cents per battery is this Energizer Max. Up to 50% longer lasting plus long temps. They claim it has a 12-year shelf life. And the Energizer Max is made in China. And the Energizer Max weighs 23.9 grams. And the Energizer Max is at 1.63 volts and has an internal resistance of 76 milliohms. So let's see if the Duracell is better than the Energizer Max. And it's taken over 8 hours to drain these batteries. And the Duracell lasted the longest yet at 8 hours and 16 minutes. The Kirkland lasted almost as long at 8 hours and 12 minutes. And it's 7 hours and 42 minutes for the Panasonic. 8 hours and 16 minutes for the Energizer Max, the same as the Duracell. And the Duracell has the most capacity yet at 2,456 milliamp hours. Kirkland 2,439 and Panasonic 2,287. And the Energizer Max barely takes the lead from the Duracell at 2,459 milliamp hours. At a price of 83 cents per cell is this Rayovac Fusion. Holds power for up to 12 years in storage. The most powerful alkaline AA batteries from Rayovac. The Rayovac Fusion is made in USA. And the Rayovac is at 1.6 volts and 78 milliohms of internal resistance. And the Rayovac weighs 23.11 grams. At a price of 88 cents per cell is this Power One brand. They claim 3-layer safety and leak-proof design. And the Power One is made in Germany. And the Power One is at 1.58 volts and has an internal resistance of 71. And it's 23.38 grams for the Power One. At a price of $1.25 per cell is this Ever-Ready Gold. They claim it has a 10-year shelf life. Made in Singapore. The Ever-Ready Gold is at 1.58 volts and has the highest internal resistance yet at 101. And it's 23.35 grams for the Ever-Ready. At a price of $1.50 per cell is this Procell brand. And the Procell batteries are owned by Duracell and they're made in Belgium. The Procell is at 1.6 volts and the internal resistance is at 75. And the Procell is pretty heavy at 24.6 grams. Let's go ahead and test the final set of alkaline batteries. And it's been over 8 hours and the Rayovac Fusion lasted the longest yet at 8 hours and 24 minutes. Power One lasted 6 hours and 10 minutes, Ever-Ready Gold 7 hours and 53 minutes, and Procell 7 hours and 25 minutes. And the Rayovac Fusion moves into the lead at 2,498 milliamp hours. And Power One is at 1,831, Ever-Ready Gold 2,342, and Procell 2,203 milliamp hours. So the Rayovac Fusion came out on top at 2,498 milliamp hours. Energizer Max finished in second at 2,459, and Duracell 2,456 milliamp hours. Let's compare the lithium batteries next. All the lithium batteries are only designed to be used one time and it cannot be charged. At a price of $1.25 per cell is this Gelvita brand. It's a lithium battery using no liquid technology to protect your high-end device. They claim these cells have a 20-year shelf life. Unfortunately, we're not going to test that. The Gelvita is made in China, and the Gelvita is very light at only 15.88 grams. And the Gelvita is at 1.81 volts and 274 milliohms of internal resistance. At a price of $1.46 per cell is this Bevigor brand. They claim this lithium battery has no leakage, up to 3,000 milliamp hours. And the Bevigor cells are made in China, and 1.79 volts and 144 milliohms for the Bevigor. And it's 15.58 grams for the Bevigor. At a price of $1.54 per cell is this Allmax brand. They claim an operating temperature range from minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140. The Allmax is at 1.79 volts and has the best internal resistance yet for the lithiums at 138. And the Allmax weighs 15.7 grams. At a price of $1.56 per cell is this Power Owl brand. They claim 3,000 milliamp hours. No leakage and more safety. The Power Owl is made in China. And the Power Owl is at 1.8 volts and the internal resistance is even better at 118. And the Power Owl weighs 15.89 grams. Let's go ahead and test the first 4 lithium batteries. The tester will drain the batteries down to 0.9 volts. And the Gelvita lasted 9 hours and 7 minutes, which is over 30 minutes longer than any of the alkaline batteries. The Bevigor lasted 11 hours and 47 minutes, All Max lasted 11 hours and 51 minutes, and Power Out takes the lead at 12 hours and 20 minutes. At a price of $1.63 per cell is this NRT brand. They claim a 20-year shelf life with a very, very low self-discharge rate. The NRT is made in China. NRT is starting off at 1.79 volts and 225 milliohms of resistance, and it's 15.7 grams for the NRT. At a price of $1.75 per cell is this Tipsun brand. Locks in power for up to 15 years. The Tipsun is made in China. The Tipsun seems overcharged at 1.92 volts and has an internal resistance of 129 milliohms, and it's 15.33 grams for the Tipsun. At a price of $1.75 per cell is this Vonico brand. They claim their batteries will last up to 10 years and they'll be as good as the day they were made. The Vonico is made in China. The Vonico is at 1.78 volts and 151 milliohms of resistance, and the Vonico weighs 15.54 grams. At a price of $1.88 per cell is this Energitech brand. After they're fully used up, they're designed not to leak for up to 2 years. The Energitech is made in China, and the Energitech is at 1.87 volts and has an internal resistance of 179 milliohms, and it's 15.78 grams for the Energitech. Let's go ahead and test the next 4 lithium batteries. And the NRT performed well at 11 hours and 32 minutes. Tipsun performed almost as well at 11 hours and 22 minutes. Vonico lasted 11 hours and 14 minutes, and Energitech was fully drained in 11 hours and 7 minutes. At a price of $2 per cell is this Ninmax brand. They claim it has a 20-year shelf life. The Ninmax is made in China, and the Ninmax is at 1.8 volts and has an internal resistance of 155, and it's 15.62 grams for the Ninmax. At a price of $2 per cell is this Bonai brand. They claim a capacity of 3,500 milliamp hours. The Bonai is made in China. The Bonai is at 1.8 volts and has an internal resistance of 107 milliohms, which is the best so far for the lithiums. And it's 15.83 grams for the Bonai. At a price of $3.13 per cell is this Energizer lithium. They claim it's the #1 longest lasting battery. And the Energizer lithium is made in Singapore. The Energizer is also at 1.8 volts and has an internal resistance of 131 milliohms. And it's 15.33 grams for the Energizer. At a price of $3.25 per cell is this Blinks Power brand. They claim that they have the #1 longest battery. The Blinks Power is made in China. And the Blinks Power is at 1.8 volts and has an internal resistance of 90, the best of the lithiums. And the Blinks Power weighs 15.84 grams. Let's test the final 4 and the most expensive lithium batteries. And the Ninmax lasted 12 hours and 6 minutes. Bonai lasted 12 hours and 20 minutes, Energizer 12 hours and 29 minutes, and Blinks Power lasted the longest at 12 hours and 33 minutes. And the Ninmax has a capacity of 3,588 milliamp hours. Bonai 3,670, Energizer 3,707, and Blinks Power 3,728. So the Blinks Power has the most energy capacity at 3,728 milliamp hours. Energizer finished in second at 3,707, and Bonai 3,670. Let's see which batteries can power up an energy-thirsty device using this tester. I'll set the tester to 1.25 amps and we'll see which batteries deliver the highest voltage. And the fully charged Varda is at 1.21 volts. And the Thunderbolt Magnum, EBL, AC Delco, PowerMax, Amazon Basics, and regular Energizer are all at 1.21 volts. And the Duracell Copper Top moves into the lead at a pretty impressive 1.36 volts. And Kirkland moves into second place at 1.28 volts. So both of those batteries should work well with energy-thirsty devices. Panasonic is at 1.21 volts and Energizer Max is doing well at 1.28. Rayovac Fusion 1.21 and Power One is struggling at 1.13 volts. Everready Gold is a little below average at 1.13 and ProCell 1.21. So the Duracell came out on top at 1.36 volts with a load of 1.25 amps. Kirkland and Energizer Max tied for second place at 1.28 volts. Let's go ahead and test the lithium cells. And the Gelvita is really struggling at 1.06 volts. The Bevigor is doing well at 1.28, and 1.36 volts for the Allmax is the best of the lithium batteries yet. The Power Owl is also at 1.36 volts, and it's 1.28 volts for the NRT. And the Tipsun moves into the lead at a pretty impressive 1.43 volts. And the Vonico is at 1.28 volts. And the Energitech is in a two-way tie for first place with the Tipsun at 1.43 volts. And 1.36 volts for the Ninmax and the Bonai batteries is pretty good. And 1.36 volts for the Energizer Lithium and the Blinks Power is also pretty good. So the Tipsun and Energitech have the highest voltage of 1.43 volts with a 1.25 amp load. Several other brands had a pretty good voltage at 1.36. So overall, the lithium batteries ran circles around the alkaline batteries for having the capability to power up high drain devices. Let's see how these batteries perform when they're really cold. The freezer is set close to 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and the Varda is struggling with the cold temperature at only 0.83 volts. And the Thunderbolt Magnum, EBL, AC Delco, and Power Max are really struggling at 0.75 volts. And the Thunderbolt Edge, Amazon Basics, and regular Energizer are at 0.75 volts. And the Duracell moves into the lead at 0.98 volts. And it's also 0.98 volts for the Kirkland. Panasonic is at 0.75 volts, and the Energizer Max is in a three-way tie for first place at 0.98 volts. And it's 0.9 volts for the Rayovac Fusion and also for the Power One. Everready Gold is at 0.75 volts, and ProCell 0.9 volts. Out of 16 alkaline cells, the Duracell, Kirkland, and Energizer Max are at 0.98 volts, the best of the lineup. Let's see if the lithiums are better for cold temperature performance compared to the alkalines. And the Gelvita is really struggling at only 0.68 volts. And the Bevagor and the Allmax are doing the best yet at 1.06 volts. And the Power Owl just moved into the lead at 1.21 volts. And the NRT is at 0.98 volts, and so are the Tipson and the Vonico. And the Energy Tech is performing well at 1.06 volts, and so is the Ninmax. And the Bonai just moved into the lead at 1.13 volts. And the Energizer Lithium and the Blink's Power are both at 1.06 volts. So the Power Owl came out on top for cold temperature performance at 1.21 volts. The Bonai brand also performed well at 1.13. So, most of the lithium cells perform far better than the alkaline cells for cold temperature performance. Only 3 of the alkaline cells made it to 0.98 volts. Let's compare the runtime of these fans, which use 2 AA cells. I'll set the clock to 12 to make it easy to track the time. And the Vardo's out of juice in only 3 hours and 14 minutes. And the AC Delco is finished in 4 hours and 14 minutes. And it's 4 hours and 22 minutes for the Power Max. And the EBL is finished early at only 4 hours and 36 minutes. And the Amazon Basics is finished 1 minute later. And the regular Energizer is out of energy in 4 hours and 43 minutes. And the Power One performed well at 5 hours and 14 minutes. And the Thunderbolt performed well at 5 hours and 36 minutes. And it's over for the Everready in 6 hours and 18 minutes. And the Panasonic is the next to go at 6 hours and 24 minutes. And the ProCell is out of the showdown at 6 hours and 25 minutes. And the Duracell performed well at 6 hours and 37 minutes. And the Kirkland lasted 7 hours and 29 minutes. And it's down to the Thunderbolt Edge, Rayovac, and Energizer Max. And the Energizer Max is maxed out at 8 hours and 3 minutes. And the Rayovac is out of juice in 8 hours and 7 minutes. And the win goes to the Thunderbolt Edge at 8 hours and 15 minutes. Using fans to test battery performance is definitely not the most accurate way to test batteries, since some of the batteries deliver more current, allowing the fan motors to spin faster. As a result of a faster spinning motor, they run out of juice faster. However, the Thunderbolt Edge lasted the longest at 8 hours and 15 minutes. Rayovac Fusion lasted 8 hours and 7 minutes, and Energizer Max 8 hours and 3 minutes. It's been 6 years since I first began using these rechargeable AA batteries in these solar-powered outdoor lights. These cells have been charged and discharged around 2,200 times. Let's go ahead and place these batteries in the charger. It's been a few hours and all the batteries are fully charged. So let's discharge the batteries using a 700 milliamp discharge rate. And the in-loop, Energizer, and Amazon Basics Black are working properly at around 700 milliamps. Unfortunately, the Amazon Basics Silver has already given up and the battery is no longer any good. And the test is finally finished, and after 6 years of daily use, the in-loop is almost as good as new at 1,874 milliamp hours. Energizer did great at 1,931, and Amazon Basics Black 1,754. And the next 4 cells have already been charged, and the test is underway. And the EBL and the IKEA Lada are working properly. Unfortunately, the Power X and the Duracell are not performing properly at well below the target 700 milliamp discharge rate. And the test is finished, and the EBL is at 1,733 milliamp hours, or about 1,000 milliamp hours below its rating. The IKEA Lada is still about as good as new at 2,385 milliamp hours. Power X is rated for 2,600 milliamp hours and ran out of steam at only 588. Duracell is also in bad shape at only 259. And the test is already underway for the final 4 batteries, and the Active Energy is the only battery functioning properly at 700 milliamps. However, the Active Energy and Varda have only been in use for about 5 years compared to the other brands that are at 6. And the Thunderbolt has definitely lost some of its thunder at only 1,634 milliamp hours. Rayovac and Varda have also lost some performance at 997 and 1,960 respectively. Since last tested, the Active Energy has lost around 250 milliamp hours of capacity. I recharged all the batteries once again. So let's see which batteries can power up an energy-thirsty device using this tester. The tester is set to 1.25 amps, and we'll see which battery delivers the highest voltage. And the in-loop performed well at 1.21 volts. And the Energizer is running low on energy at 0.83 volts. Amazon Basics Black is also a little bit low at 0.98 volts. And the Amazon Basics Silver can't even support 1.25 amps. EBL is in really bad shape at 0.68 volts. And the IKEA is at 0.98 volts. And the Power X battery is no longer working properly. And the Duracell is also in very bad shape. And the Thunderbolt is low on volts at 0.75. And the Rayovac is also struggling at 0.45 volts. And the Varda is at 1.06 volts to move into second place. And the Active Energy is also at 1.06 volts, the same as the Varda. So, after 6 years of daily use, the Inloop came out on top at 1.21 volts while under a 1.25 amp load. The Active Energy and Varda were only in use for about 5 years and they have a voltage of 1.06. So which battery is the best? I've converted raw performance data into average finish to simplify the process of ranking performance of the batteries. Looking at just performance and not the price, the Blink's Power, which is a lithium cell, came out on top with an average finish of 2.3. The Power Owl, Bonai, and Energizer are all lithium cells and they tied for second place with an average finish of 2.7. The bottom line is that these lithium cells will run circles around an alkaline cell in performance. If one factors price into the equation, Power Owl moves from second place to first. In my opinion, it's a great battery for a fair price and would definitely be my choice. I also like the Almax and Bonai quite a bit and would definitely choose those over an alkaline battery. So which brand of alkaline batteries leaks the most often? I've had a lot of people say it's the Duracell brand, but I'd really like to know your opinion. Prior to this review, I had no idea that there were so many lithium batteries available, especially ones that cost far less than the Energizer brand. I seriously doubt I'll ever buy another alkaline battery because of the risk of a leak. All the videos in this channel, including this one, are viewer suggested. So if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Please take care and look forward to next time.